at some point, I think people are getting off the train.
I don't know.
And not only that, the bigger thing, and I told Tyler this, and at first he was like, "What?" But I think I made it make sense. These movies exist because there's no cultural narrative right now. There isn't like, I mean, if these fill up the same space as westerns and World War II movies, the next big thing will just be there'll be movies based on an event that actually happens in the real world, like World War II did. But because there hasn't been a truly earth-shattering event since World War II, and that was 80 years ago, we're kind of in this weird place as a species of like where are we going, And I think,
there have definitely been events and ideas and things that have transformed the world in a
but
radical.
not the way World War II did, where it's like, holy shit, everything's different now. Everything's different.
In terms of like formation of a new country and like the atomic power.
I guess, yeah. And it's like it's been showing in our movies where it's like, oh, we've been running on this "Go America" narrative for 80 years.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's the end of all empires. I was actually watching something. It's like, all right, watching the end of like America's golden age, because it's been about 100 years, honestly. You know what I mean? I mean, if you don't really count the Great Depression, that 10 years,
I did, well, because The Godfather's about the golden age of America and how there's an emptiness to it. So does Citizen Kane. All those great movies about how empty that Citizen Kane is pre-World War II, but Godfather, the whole reason it works is it's the ultimate post-World War II tragedy of like the corruption of America. You come to this country, you make a shitload of money, and you burn everything to the ground spiritually, and you're left with just, staring, like as Michael Corleone does, staring into the this is too poetic even for me, but the abyss of your own soul. There's nothing left. That's why those two movies, in my opinion, are held at the same that they are. Like, oh, these were these giant, events. And we haven't really, I mean, I do I think we did. I kinda. But when, they have happened, but I don't think we've been dealing with them in a great way. And I do kind of.
I think we're still too close to these events. Like when you
That's
say
what I
like
was saying.
big transformative events, I would say like the social network.
You know what I mean?
Like
we're gonna have like a lot more. Like the social network was a huge. Was it 2010?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's the best movie of the 2010s. By the way, and it is the kind of like that movie I'm talking about. Like, oh, this spoke to the world we're in. That movie.
And then even before then, I would say like post 9/11 and like the creation of like Homeland Security and talking about like sort of just like terrorism, whether or not we are like the bad guys like going out and pillaging like.
I think I'm as I've gotten older, I'm kind of like, I think we have to have. I mean, this is my own artistic ambitions lately. I've been trying to. I mean, I actually told you guys one of them. Osama bin. Well, I told you about Osama bin Laden, Devin, and I told you about Muhammad Atta, and kind of like basically writing something about 90s Al Qaeda, and that being like the thing that is what I'm talking about. Another one was Iranian Revolution. That's been actually one that's even more important to me right now. Because I think a lot of the issue, my pitch for that was, and I guess still is, the 21st century happened not on 9/11, but in 1979 when Iran, which was for the most part a Western country, was basically overthrown and replaced with a theocracy, a backwards looking civilization. And that to me is like, oh, I think that's kind of where we might be going politically. So that might be what the next 10 years looks like. I was looking at this shit with the 2000 with the was it January 6th thing yesterday, and like how, I mean, this, I didn't even look into this. It's huh?
You there?
Yeah, I was no, but I was looking into there was a new article, there was a new story. Yeah, I was there, guys. I was some of them. I was
like in the comments if you were there on.
Yeah, like it. So yeah, like and subscribe if you were part of the 1-6 movement. Bring Donald back. Hashtag bring Donald back. Well, wait, wait, if we were there, because if we're supporting people who were there, I guess we are.
I'm not supporting them. I'm just saying if you were there.
Oh yeah, so yeah. Oh yes, like and subscribe if you were there.
Stay away from me.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and subscribe if you're against Trump. Like, subscribe if you're for Trump. I'm for people. Like and subscribe if you like movies. Like and subscribe, guys. Like it in the comments below. The article was about Donald Trump. It was fucking Kevin McCarthy admitting that Trump acknowledged responsibility for the 1/6 thing. And I immediately went to Iran because I mean it's like, oh, that's kind of like that idea of like just quick dramatic change in a world and going in that specific direction of like going backwards, returning to a world of like the a dark age sort of like we're a country under God, you know. That to me was like that to me has been very interesting as of late. And yeah, I think that would be the sort of movie that I'd be interested in, or I've been thinking of it as a play actually, because I know Hollywood wouldn't. Because I remember we talked about it, Devin, where it's like, no, who would go for an Osama bin Laden movie? And it's like, no one. But if it's a book or a play, I mean, that's because you don't need the money to, you don't need to make money for that to be a thing.
You're more open to experimental,
Mm-hmm.
sort of, I guess, like stories, or maybe something that would be seen as a bit more taboo.
And
But
I think because taboo is where I think things are most interesting when it's taboo. It's like the 9/11 thing with Ada. I always seem like the whole point of that existing is like, what if they were right? What if America? I mean, if you look at if you look at Bin Laden and Ada, and there was a philosopher I talked to you briefly about from 1960 the 60s, Syed Khattab, I think his name is, who was writing basically all the same shit like the Twitter left people say, and just the left in general. Like America is this corrupt machine that just this misanthropic, inhumane machine. Like that's why we got planes flown in our fucking buildings, kinda. Like to sympathize on that level is like it's scary, but it's like I think that's what the real like art is about, it's supposed to be scary. Like that's what Apocalypse Now and Taxi Driver and and if you go back further, I guess what Dostoevsky, whatever, I think that's what that shit was about. Was like, oh, let's really deal with like really scary shit. That I might not I agree with totally. But yeah, so I forget what my original point was. With stupid rumor, but because you don't want to deal with that, we go like, no, guys, it's just if we just all get together, which is still true. I know this has been a very Paul heavy last 10 minutes, which will probably close with this probably.
these things is that all these Marvel movies, DC movies, they are sponsored by the military and the Pentagon. That's how they get access to these.
And yeah, you know what?
Jets and things like they're working with the government, and they are preaching a certain set of values.
Right, it's the William Goldman thing. It's criticizing versus upholding society.